My stuff's in the library. No, I'm taking it off February. I really I'm not paying for that.
Okay, here we go.
My stuff's in the library.
A little bit of note taking, and then I'm going to give you another handout, and we're going to actually start really putting together our essays. I'm assuming that you are well on your way to finding your 6 historical examples, which you will use to prove a point. So now we're starting to look at the actual confrontation between the English colonists and the natives. We're going to be looking at a series of wars that occurred, which really set the tone for the relationship between the Europeans, mainly the English and the Native Americans. You're looking at a kind of an interesting map. If you recognize this, this will become someday Massachusetts, and you're looking at it from a Native American point of view. Who lived where? Now, again, I've said this before, but the Indians didn't think of themselves as owning the land. They just happened to be there. And so you can see a group called the Wampanoag. There they are. And you can see that an epidemic. What is an epidemic? What is an epidemic? Very good. Okay, it's a disease. It's a nasty disease that wipes it out and devastating the Native Americans. The whites had built up an immunity to smallpox, but they were the carriers. And so it devastated the Native Americans in the area. And the Puritans took advantage of this to sort of expand their territorial control. And the Wampanoag agreed to sign a treaty in 1621, giving up land to the Puritans, allowing the Puritans to live there. But at this point, what some of the Native Americans started to realize is, okay, these English aren't honorable people. They're in it for the land. We need to join together. We need to work together to combat them. Later on in this class, what am I doing? Synthesizing. Very good. Synthesizing. Later on in this class, we'll meet a Native American, maybe the greatest foe that the U.S. Army ever had to face was a Native American who regularly defeated U.S. military during the War of 1812. And what he figured out was that we Native Americans need to band together. We need to calling ourselves Wampanoag and Mohawk and Seneca. We need to take on them being the English. And he figured that out. But it didn't last. So it ended. Okay. A couple other wars. It's called the Pequot War. So now the Europeans, the English are taking on another group called the Pequot. There they are. Okay, so you can sort of see that the English are sort of expanding. We're going to take on the Pequot. And I told you about King Philip's War. Who's Philip? Does anyone remember? Is he some European king? No, he's an Indian. It's just that the English couldn't pronounce his name. So they called him Philip. Does that ring a bell? Did the English do that something else? Remember what they called Johann Caboto? John, right? Apparently they couldn't pronounce Johann. The guy's name was Metacomet. And the English were like, Philip. Okay, and so they fight a war, and look at these big important lines. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, look at that line right there. There's little exploding things. Yeah. Look at this dotted line here. This guy, it's like an ant. You watch this ant and you're thinking, what is wrong with this ant? Well, what's wrong with this group? Nope, let's turn around. Yeah, let's go. No, wait a minute now. Anyway, we're not going to fight battles in here with 2 exceptions. We'll fight a few battles during the American Civil War, and we'll fight a few battles during World War II. Otherwise, what's the point? Why do I need you to memorize the Battle of that spot? Will that get you a job? Okay. Maybe as a history teacher. All right. Anyway, the Puritans win again. Their enemy was this guy, Metacom. Also, in some histories, his name was Metacom. Same guy. So again, the pattern here is the English capture land, the natives retreat. Get used to that. Get used to that. Questions? Yeah. Let's keep going. The Dominion of New England. When I say New England, does anyone know what I'm talking about? I mean, why are they called the New England Patriots? Why aren't they called the Boston Patriots? That's where they play. Why are they called what's New England?
It's the New England.
What is, well, yes, it's the New England, but what is that referring to?
The area of New York that was created by
Not New York.
The 13 original.
New York is slightly south.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's part of it.
The colonies.
New England refers to the area of the extreme northeast United States. Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. That's New England. And where that name came from is right here, because at this time, the King of England decided, I don't like each of these colonies being independently run. Merge them, make them one. Call it New England. And they did. And that's why they're called the New England Patriots. It refers to an area of several states. Okay, so that's why people in New Hampshire cheer for the New England Patriots, because it represents them, supposedly. There was even a little bit of a drive a couple of years ago to change the name of the Vikings to the Midwest Vikings, because South Dakota cheers for them and North Dakota cheers for them and parts of Iowa cheer for them. Let's make them, why is it the Minnesota Vikings, right? Or, you ever wondered why they're called the Wisconsin Packers? They're the Green Bay Packers, right? Why are you cheering for them? You don't live in Green Bay. And actually, when you think about it, most NFL teams are actually named after a city. Let's see, Minnesota Vikings, Arizona Cardinals.
Cincinnati.
Is New York the city or the state? Cincinnati's a city.
I thought we said that. Oh, we were saying what was the state?
Why do you think? Yeah, that's the city. That's a city. Yeah.
That's not the state.
Heck, there are only two.
I don't know sports balls.
Minnesota and Arizona.
Carolina.
Carolina. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. So anyway, this was a result of the English Crown's decision to rein in those uppity, independent colonies. Remember when I kept showing you document after document, the Mayflower Compact, we rule us, and the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, we choose our leaders. And this is the king saying, okay, you've had your fun. I'm in control. Me, king. And this was the attempt to retake direct control of the colonies. No more town meetings. I'll make the decisions. You've had your fun. Now the adult is in the room. We're going to heavily tax you, and we're going to mercantilize you. Is that a word? Mercantilism. It's a big idea. Does anyone have any idea what it is? What is mercantilism?
I'm guessing that they were heavily promoting merchants.
Merchants have definitely something to do with it. Yes. There it is. The reason you exist, colonies, is so that Mother England benefits. We shall import stuff from you, and we shall sell stuff to you. We win. We, England, win. You exist for our benefit. Picture the mother spider, and the colonies are the flies caught in the web. That fly is called 13 colonies. That fly is called India. That fly is called parts of the Middle East. That fly is called parts of Africa. You get the idea. All of them exist solely for the benefit of Mother England. It is not a mutually beneficial relationship. Unlike when the US would expand westward, and what they do is they would add states. New state, 100% equal to the original 13. It's a perfectly equal relationship. Mercantilism is not. Okay? Who do you suppose are not real big fans of this?
The colonists.
Right, the colonists. And now you are starting to once again see the development of a new we, they. We, they. It used to be we English colonists, you Native Americans. And now we're seeing the development of a new we, they. We, I don't know if the term Americans is quite around yet, but we're not seeing it the way you're seeing it, English. There's a new we, they just starting to emerge. Yes. New Englanders, yeah. I think you're right. Okay. Actually, I think that's kind of a really good thing to observe, and that is they didn't see themselves as Americans yet. They did see themselves as New Englanders or whatever colony they lived in. That's very good. Okay. Let's keep going here. This didn't last. The New England colony did not last because that previous king, his name was James II, was overthrown in something called the Glorious Revolution. It was glorious. And the new king, I'm going to assume it was James III, said, okay, that's enough of that dominion thing. We don't want to treat you as second-class citizens, people over in the colonies. We'll just end this dominion thing. You can recreate your little independent colonies. However, let's keep this mercantilism thing. I like it. So mercantilism is kept, but the Dominion of New England is ended. But you can't put that thing back in the box. Know what I'm saying? You can't. Once you open that gift, you can't recreate the wrapping. Are my metaphors annoying? Does anyone understand do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? What do I mean? You can't put the cat back in the bag. By the way, where'd that saying come from? Who puts cats in bags? Does anyone know what I mean? Look, it's all better, colonists. Do the colonists say, great, we're England again? No, it's, yeah, but still, you did it in the first place, right? You did it. It's like, let's say your mom and your dad are having a fight and they're starting to call each other names. And then they say, sorry. Is all forgiven, or does your mom continue to punish dad, a month later? Remember when you did that to me a month ago? When are you going to forgive me? Okay. Is that just my house? Okay. Question 2. Here we're looking once again at Pennsylvania. Sort of a reboot, but I kind of felt like maybe we should cover it just a little bit more. Here's Pennsylvania, named after obviously Mr. William Penn, settled by a group called the Quakers. Remember, they quaked, not shaked. They quaked. Know the difference. Want a quick quiz? Anyone want to take a shot? Caitlin, Casperson. You think you're all that?
Nope.
What am I doing right now? You might be right. What am I doing right now? Take a guess. Go ahead. Oh, you are going down. I am going to take you out. The Quakers believed in no taxes. You don't have to take an oath swearing loyalty and fealty to the Puritan church, and no military service. After all, we don't hate the Indians. Why do we fight them? Okay. It's pretty unusual. William Penn, Native Americans that lived in this area were treated kindly. He did not see an adversarial relationship as necessary. The things that existed in Pennsylvania really were pretty unusual. Well, some of them existed in other places, but they had a representative assembly, a legislature, right? There was no official church. Many of the other colonies had an official church. There was the death penalty, pretty rare. Death penalty was pretty common in the colonies, but not in Pennsylvania. And again, no military. Anyone's welcome, and no slavery. I believe that's the first time I put that up there. There's a lot up there. I'll let you write it all down, and then that's it as far as note taking. While you're continuing to write it down, you're getting another handout. You'll find this, I believe, really, really useful. Just remember, we started it. I don't get angry, and I don't get even. I get ahead. Might lose any essay attempt you've made. I don't know. I tend to lose things. And I think it'd be a good idea, as we're finishing up, retrieve your documents themselves and retrieve any sort of preparation work that you've done for the successful writing of this. Question?
What's number 5?
I don't know. I messed up. Leave me alone. This is a cardboard box, and this is for you. At any time, you are free to retrieve what I have in here. And what I have in here are called Blue Book essay books. Now you might be thinking, Blue Book essay, that's not blue, that's white. Our school is cheap. The word sample is on page 1, and it's on page 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. The word sample is everywhere. Okay? So you can't take this and then on essay day when I give you the actual book, no. Because I'll know because of the word sample. Anyway, you each get one of these. You can give it right back to me if you have absolutely no intention of doing this. But I would, because your essay must fit in one book. It's gotta fit. So when you practice it and you're like here and you still have lots to say, then maybe you need to think about what you've done on the previous pages. And I've had students who say, well, Mr. Potter, can I create lines between the lines? Sure. It's gotta fit in one book. Can I use the back? Yes. It's gotta fit in one book. And how many pages is it? Well, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 pages. And I've had students who needed more space. And by the way, I've had A students that wrote perfectly wonderful A essays, and they were done by page 7. It's got to fit. Question?
That was my question. Like, could you not use all the pages?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That is definitely okay. So I'm gonna assume all of you want your own copy. So I'm just gonna hand these out. But remember this: at any time, let's say you've ruined this thing, come up and have another one. It's just fine. Oh. And then take a look at what I've handed out to you, that piece of paper, that sort of overall approach thingy, that single handout, Blue Book essay basic format.
Is there a reason why it goes in that, or is that just like the college?
This is to get you ready for.
Instead of typing.
Right. What's up, Gary?
So when we like turn that on that.
I'm giving you another one. This is a rough draft.
You have to memorize it?
No.
Good question. Let me answer. Okay, so she just asked, do we have to memorize our essay? In other words, can I use this and just copy it? The answer is no, you cannot use this and copy it. But for essay number 1, and only essay number 1, I allow certain things that by the time you're writing essay number 6, it'll be very, very different. I assume that you are intellectually growing, and so rules that apply for essay number 1 will be different by essay number 2, and then by essay number 3, I'll kind of tweak it again and tweak it again. So the rule for essay number 1 is this. You get to use the document packets. You can have not this piece of paper. Okay, none of these attachments, which by the way are very impressive. Nice work. But you can use this document packet and all that empty space that you have, fill it up, because you can use this one. Now, if you're looking and thinking, gee, I wish I could have a new one, because now that I know that, I would have used this more efficiently. Awesome. If you want to trade, if you want a new one, I have no problem with that.
We just both.
Well, no.
So you just get like 5 of them and like.
No, you cannot use both. Okay, and I've had all sorts of questions. Can I use whiteout and completely white out that thing? And no, no, you can't. Okay, but you can use that handout. For essay number 2, the rules will be tweaked. Okay, now let's take a look at this. I should be able to ask this question of all of you, right? I warned you. I should be able to say, all right, which historian are you siding with? And what 2 topics are you going to be addressing? You should be able to answer that question. Yes? Okay. Pretend I'm asking you. Just pretend. Now, what's your answer? Okay. You will put winning historian by number 4 and number 5. Winning historian's name goes by 4 and 5. Which means the losing historian's name would be by 2 and 3. Okay. Second question, what are your 2 topics? You should be able to answer that. Topic number 1 will be paragraph number 2. And let's see if you can figure out where else it'll go. Don't say anything out loud. I will tell you the answer in like 30 seconds.
Wait, what?
Your first topic, Columbus, or justification for European colonization, or which culture was superior. What's your first topic? It's going to go with paragraph number 2. Can you figure out where else it's going to go? Because you have to have historian number 1's view of topic number 1. That would be paragraph number 2. And then you have to have your second historian, the one you agree with, view of that same topic. Where's that going to go? Can you figure it out? If you can't, wait 10 seconds and I will help you. But I am talking to the best and the brightest, right? You're it. If we were to make a Mount Rushmore, your face would be on it. Right? I'm talking to the best and the brightest. Supposedly. You're in this room. We didn't draw your name out like, whoa, look at that. You qualified you fell through the parameters. You're in this room right now, which means you're the best and the brightest. Anyone want to take a shot? Where else you put it?
Paragraph number 4.
Number 4. Now, if right now you're saying, oh, and you're writing it by paragraph number 4, why weren't you able to figure it out? All right, we'll play with that later. But
technically, it'd still be under number 2, reputation.
Right, very good. But no, I'm really, really happy you said that, because if you think that, then others will too. Let's just pretend you agree with Zinn and you disagree with Schweikert and Allen. You disagree with Schweikert and Allen and you agree with Zinn. Paragraph number 2 will be Schweikart and Allen's view of Columbus, right? Will you mention Zinn at all in paragraph number 2? No. You will not. I didn't say provide document evidence to reject Schweikart and Allen. I said historical evidence. You will not mention two historians. Well, I mean, Schweikart. Let's just pretend Schweikart and Allen is one guy, right? Schweikart and Allen. If you mention Schweikart and Allen, Zinn's not part of the picture. He's later, or the other way around. Understand? Okay, same thing. What's your second topic? What's your second topic? You put that second topic by paragraph number 3. And I'm going to assume you figure out where else it goes.
I'm writing 2 different papers.
Nope, it's one. You're
one
addressing
with-
both issues from both historians in one 6-paragraph essay.
I thought we were doing something else.
Am I insane? Or did the words I think come out of your mouth?
Princess Bride.
If I could get it. Okay. That means, are we done with this little exercise? That means right now I should be able to walk up and down the aisles and see historian number 1 by number 2 and 3, historian number 2 by 4 and 5, topic number 1 by 2 and 4, topic number 2 by 3 and 5. And now look, you're starting to organize your essay. There it is. You know exactly what you're going to write about in paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's what you're writing about. Okay. Now let's keep going here. Let's think about this. In paragraphs 2 and 3, you're going to point out that some people, these historians, mistakenly believe Columbus was fill in the blank, right? They're wrong. Remember when I pointed out that peppers, some people think it's got a lovely atmosphere, right? Implying that, right? That's what you're going to do. Zinn mistakenly believes that Columbus is horrible. It left a horrible legacy, right? And oh, by the way, did you notice my tense? My tense. Zinn believes. Historians live forever. Historians live forever. So it's present tense. Historians are present tense. But George Washington is dead. He did. Right? So in other words, when you're talking about Zinn and Schweikart and Allen, present tense. But when you're talking about historical examples, that happened 500 years ago. Past tense. Historical examples, past tense. Document, generally present tense. Okay, you understand? All right. I hope you're finding this useful. Let's keep going in here. I'm suggesting that you write about historian number 1's 2 arguments that you disagree with, both of them, and then you retort with the historian you agree with, both of them. But you don't have to. This isn't, there's more than one way to write an essay. You could do it this way. Paragraph 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 6.
Depends on your thesis.
Fine, absolutely. I even had a student last year, Pope, really smart. She wrote 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6. She wanted to argue the side she agreed with first. Great. I have no problem with this. Just have a plan. The one I would suggest you don't do is 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 6. What's wrong with you? Or how about 1, 6, 5, 2, 3, 4? Get out. Leave now. Don't do that. Have an approach. And then what Eve said is very, very cognizant, right? How you organize your first paragraph is how you should organize your essay itself. If it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then your first paragraph should be organized the same way. I should be able to read your first paragraph and know exactly what your second paragraph is about, and your third paragraph is about, and your fourth paragraph is about, and your fifth paragraph. Okay, right? Okay, that's good. So I guess what I would suggest now is that you use this piece of paper and start constructing your essay. And let's make it a goal today. Well, when you walk in the door tomorrow, you're done with an attempt at paragraph number 1. Should we put it in there? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Well, yeah. I'll say yeah. I'll give you another sample book if you need. Okay. Attempt at paragraph number 1, which means hook, roadmap, thesis, and make sure your thesis is correctly written. Right. The thesis is a 1 sentence that has both historians, both issues, and one's right and one's wrong. And if you're thinking like, I don't know how to write that, look at the thesis that we wrote as far as the restaurants are concerned. And then just substitute Zinn for peppers and Schweikert and Allen for Amante and Columbus for atmosphere and whatever your second issue is, or whatever your first issue, for whatever the other second issue is. Just substitute. And then maybe fix it up a bit because that might be worded funny. Okay. How are we doing? Are you mentally there? Are you ready to attack? Okay. Give it a shot. Would anyone like a new document packet? I'll just grab a bunch and then assume. Okay. You document packet?
Thank you.
Would you like a new document packet?
I'll take
Would you like a new one?
No, thank you. Yes, I'm good. I'll just have to decide which one I want to use.
Anyone else? Look at all that work that I just.
Or she could copy it onto the new one.
That's true.
I saw it do it.
Oh, I've had students who fit the entire essay on the margins, and then they just copied. Fine. Okay. Just be warned that, as we go through these essays, you don't get to do that anymore. So maybe start training yourself to not depend so much on the materials I'm giving you. But again, I'm allowing you to use this packet with no rules.
There's no extra paper.
There's no extra papers stapled to it. You can't. I even had one student do this, and it's like, God dang it, why'd you do that? So he made a copy of this and figured out if he fed paper into his printer, what was available, and then typed his entire essay with this blank so that when it printed, it's like, no.
It looked like
no.
It looked like that, but it was a paper.
Well, yeah, I mean, with all the space provided. I mean, it was pretty clever. Wow.
You invested a lot of time.
Yeah, a lot of time. Do you want your hockey?
Yeah, I was gonna grab it. Thanks, Potter.
We're out.
What? No, I'm not. There's a cover.